Hello, hello. It's great to be here, back in my home country. I actually moved abroad a couple of years ago. Though I can't say Berlin is my hometown, it's actually the magnificent city of Mönchengladbach. But anyhow, as the mysterious voice said, I'm a product manager here at Datadog. I focus on a product called On Call, but in general, I talk with customers about anything that remotely resolves around incident response. So that is on-call, sometimes incident management, sometimes a little bit of workflows. And I know that I'm also the last talk that separates you from lunch. So let's get right into it. Now, let's talk about incident response, right? Let's talk about why we even do that in the first place. Why even get paged in the middle of the night? Why even bother waking up? And the short answer, it's for the business, right? You all build software or in some way deliver product, whether that's digital or not, to your end users. What the idea is that if that software is secure, it runs reliable, it's available, users use it, they might use different products of yours, and they start expanding. If those products are unavailable, users churn, right? You might have noticed this as well when you go to an e-commerce shop, you try to buy some new shoes or something else, you start going to the checkout button doesn't work. I give you 3 seconds before you close the tab and open Amazon, right? So availability is business critical, which is why we do things like on-call or incident management. Now the problem, however, is that incident management does get complex. One of the reasons is part of Maxime's talk is that things have gotten more and more complex over the years, right? Technology has gone more complex, more vendors, more software, more risks. Burnout sometimes gets real in the middle of the night when you get paged so many times because of all these different dependencies. Another reason why incident response gets complex these days is also just a lot of tools, right? You use one tool for task tracking, like Linear or Jira or something else. You use a different tool for conversations, like Zoom or MS Teams or something else. And then for chats, it might be Slack. And while having all these different tools is not really necessarily a bad thing, what makes it complex is that when you start working in an incident, you have to work in all of these tools. And what gets complex is that you have to manually synchronize them, which is a lot of customers tell us that this is extremely annoying because I have to go update something in Datadog, then I have to go to Jira and update my incident there. I have to pull up a status page, and then I have to tell everybody in Slack what I did. So it does get complex, and you spend more time in managing the relationship of these tools instead of actually being able to respond to an incident. Now, that comes with a few caveats, unfortunately, which is, for the first one, obviously, it's slow response times, right? If I'm busy updating Jira tickets or something else, I'm not busy solving a problem or doing a rollback or deploying a new change. The other problem is when you are alone, that's not a big issue, but when you have multiple people working on incident, you don't have a single source of truth, which means your product management team might look in Jira, whereas the engineering team might look on Slack, and somebody else is looking for updates on a non-existent status page. So all of that creates another layer of friction, which again helps contribute in longer or slower response times. And of course, lastly, when it comes to looking at the data after the incident, there is fragmented data, right? Again, everything lives in different places. It's very difficult to come to better conclusions at the end of an incident. So this is why we believe these issues, these challenges highlight a need for a unified incident response flow, something that helps you streamline your workflows, something that eliminates friction and provides teams with full visibility into their code, into their runtime, but also takes care of these communication processes that you need to run during an incident. And the way that we want to do this is we want to help customers, first of all, plan and automate, right? During an incident, you're less stressed about things because maybe some of those things have been already taken care of, right? I don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. and ask myself, do I open a Slack channel for this? Or do I post a status page update? Or do I maybe go into Jira again and post something there? The idea is to automate all of that by planning ahead. And one of the most common ways of doing that is some of our customers, it ends up being something like a workflow, right? When an incident is declared, something has happened, right? Either your monitor in Datadog triggered, some other third-party solution paged you, or maybe a user of yours has reported an issue. right? Point is there's some sort of declaration of an incident, which then usually launches a Slack channel. We have our on-call AI agents join those channels, and then from there on, it's very custom usually, right? Everybody does incident response a little differently. Every company's processes are a little different. So some people might want to start a Zoom channel if it's a CEF1 or a CEF2. Some people might want to start an MS Teams channel. Some people create tickets in ServiceNow or page their executive leads. The point here is you can tailor this to your needs, right? We don't want to push you into one flow that should apply to every single customer. We know that we need to augment into these different toolings, which is, again, you start with a basic flow. It can be as simple as just launch a channel, right? Something that standardizes your flow. Most companies already have it in place, maybe not on paper, but implicitly it already exists in an organization. Now, from there on, another thing you can plan ahead is simple, on-call culture. Have schedules in place, have escalation policies in place, make sure that how do you want to organize your escalation processes. Should we have someone during business hours? Should we pay someone outside of business hours? What if they don't pick up the phone? Where should it go to? What if that second layer doesn't pick up the phone? Where should that go to? Should we page the CTO at some point, et cetera, et cetera? All these questions that are part of building up an on-call culture, right? Of course, users can notify themselves. It's up to you. You can choose emails, push notifications, phone calls, and SMSs, of course. Now, once you have all these different configurations in place, it's also time to act. The way we do this is we do realize that an incident is a high-stress situation. We want to make sure that you can collaborate effectively during such a high-stress situation. So what we built is this live stream on the right side of the screen that you see of your Slack integration. So if you're using Slack, this is pretty useful for you. For MS Teams, we're about to add support for that as well. Essentially, what we do is the incident channel that we created, we live stream it into Datadog, which means as you investigate, you can see updates coming in. You don't have to switch windows. You don't have to switch context. And you can post links from dashboards or whatever findings you have back to the channel without actually doing any command tab, without switching windows. This helps customers usually stay aligned on updates while they can still conduct their investigations. Now, another cool thing is that we summarize incidents as you go through them, right? Every time someone joins an incident channel, they get a personalized summary. The reason for that, maybe you have been that person, or maybe you have seen those people. It's one of the most common things that happens, but it's also quite annoying, which is when you're in the middle of an incident, you're troubleshooting, someone comes around the corner and says, "What's the status?" It's super annoying, but it's natural. It's more annoying if it's your manager. I'm just kidding. No, but it's natural that people want to know. It's a high-stress situation. Remember, we do these things for the business, so people care. But the point is, we don't want you to spend time summarizing everything you did, which is, again, we keep posting these summaries every time a user joins the incident channel. You can also ask Datadog on the right side of the screen here. You can ask it, what is the status as well, right? And as the incident resolves, we will post an updated summary as well for everyone, so that, again, you don't have to do any of these. Now, the other cool thing is, while acting, imagine it's 2, 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, you get paged. What most people do is they acknowledge the page, throw away the phone, go to the laptop, and start troubleshooting. Now, with Datadog, you have the power of a mobile app that we've been building for the last 7 years. So the mobile app has dashboards, monitors, synthetic tests, logs, traces, even flame graphs, and a bunch of other stuff, which help you troubleshoot in the middle of the night. So I'm not saying we can all throw away our laptops now, but a world where you get paged, you open your phone, you can do an initial triage, kick off an incident, right? By the time you open your laptop, all the other things have been run. Remember the workflow, which means that there's a Zoom attached already, maybe someone else has been paged already, and you can start troubleshooting in peace, right? All that with just a few clicks in the palm of your hands while you're still enjoying the comfort of your bed. Sounds pretty cool to me. Of course, we don't just want to act, right? We also want to learn. Ideally, we want to reduce the noise it takes, the amount of pages we receive. We want to reduce the amount of work it takes to respond, so we can build new cool features and all crush our competition. The way to learn is also postmortems. It's a very common thing that many teams do. The problem with that is many times Not everyone is a great writer, right? I'm not, trust me. And also, it takes time to write. So imagine the incident occurs on the 1st of the month, and the postmortem arrives on the 28th of the month. That is 4 weeks in between where the incident might have repeated itself 3 times. So the point here is, can we somehow shorten the time it takes from incident declaration to postmortem received to an absolute minimum? Maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days. This is why we take the context from the Slack channel, from your MS Teams channel, we can transcribe your Zoom meetings or MS Teams meetings, and we use all the data that we have in Datadog, and with just 1 click, we deliver to you a postmortem draft that can be reviewed. It has interactive graphs, and it looks at all the things that happen and basically builds out a timeline with explanations and follow-up tasks. Which again, the point here is not to say, let's click 1 button and call it a day, but the point is, how can we make sure that we move fast when these things happen? How can we shorten feedback loops to make sure that things don't get forgotten? Now, one last thing I will mention is having monitoring and on-call data in one single place is pretty cool, because you can also see if your monitoring is in a good state. For instance, imagine I have this metric that looks at failed checkouts, and that red line in the middle at 12:46 indicates when I was paged. Now, when I did the review of our on-call, what happened last week in our page review, we noticed, well, we should have been paged 10 minutes before that. Right? So maybe there is something we can tweak. Maybe the monitor that paged me is not sensitive enough. Maybe there's another signal I can look at, right? Combining these 2 things help you understand and better and improve your monitoring system overall as well. So it's not just about incident response, it goes back to the monitoring part. Now, this is part of the same flow, the regular page reviews where you discuss who's being paged the most, is someone suffering from burnout, is there a service in particular that is very noisy? Again, all of this out of the box because it's all connected in one single place. Now, I mentioned a lot of stuff. I do want to highlight just one last thing, which is not everything needs to be done at the same time. If you're new to this, you can start with just building an incident management process. If you're new to on-call, you can start with just on-call. There's a lot of things that, again, this is a lot of changes. It's not just organizational, it's just not technical changes, it's also organizational changes. So we don't force you to use all of that at once. You can choose 1 step at a time if you like to. But overall, that is a quick overview of our incident response flow. Thank you very much again for coming here.